Hello, welcome to Stay at the World Cup. For a change, it's me and you, Kev.
It's me and you. How are you doing?
Good, mate. I've not seen you for like an hour.
An hour, yeah. It's been one of those. Do you know what? The last few days have been absolutely mental.
Good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably this is the strangest third week of third round games that you've seen for a long time with World Cups. Normally these are dead rubbers at the end, but pretty much most groups had something on it all the way through. And tonight was no exception. This afternoon, especially.
Yeah.
So it was really good. Really enjoyed it. Some good football on show, some controversy, lots to talk about. But all in all, for me, the group stages have been pretty good. Enjoyed a lot of the football.
Yeah, and also, I think we think this is the first World Cup where not one team's got perfect. There's normally at least one group that goes perfect, isn't there? It's very unusual. I would think that every group, no one gets more than 7 points.
Yeah, that is. Ever since they went to this type of format, which I think was probably the 1974, 78 World Cup, where they went into group stage, then into knockout football. I mean, this time around, you had 8 groups, or was it 8, 9? No, was it 8 groups of 4? A4 is 32, yeah.
Yeah.
And to think that nobody won 3 from 3 just goes to show. I think it shows a couple of things, really. It goes to show that the top nations aren't as good as what they think they are, or we think they are. And the so-called lesser nations, they're closing the gap. And you're seeing that reflected in the way the games are going. You got a few, you got a few shellackings handed out. But in general, the most of the games have been fairly tight. There might be the odd game where it was a 2-goal difference, but there haven't been many shellackings. England handed one out.
England had one, and Spain had a 7-0. England had a 6-2.
At a 6-2, but there's been a couple of teams have scored 4, but
yeah, France did a 4 against Australia, but they were made to work for an hour.
Yeah, and I think the top scorer in the tournament at the minute is on 3. No one is running away with that either. There's a few, I think there's 3 or 4 players joined at the hip on 3 goals, so there's an awful lot wide open in this. And
as Jonathan points out, they're changing the format for the next World Cup as well, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
more teams. Isn't it more teams and everything?
The next World Cup, I think, has 48 teams, and what you're going to have at the very start is 16 groups of 3 teams, where the 3 teams will play each other, and the teams with the most points out of those 3 games will qualify for the World Cup proper. So, in one way, it just means that more countries are going to be involved, more teams are going to get to go. But at the other side, it's going to be more games, more money for FIFA. I'm not really a fan of it at all. I think it devalues and dilutes the competition. From basically, you've got to populate. You've got 200 members of FIFA, give or take, 200 countries and territories that are members of FIFA, and a quarter of them are going to be at the tournament.
Exactly.
That kind of devalues it for me. It's a bit weird.
Cool. So let's go through who's qualified then. So the teams that are through are Netherlands, USA, Argentina, Australia, which will come to that because that was a big surprise, Japan, Croatia, Brazil, Korea, and then we've got England, Senegal, Poland and France, Morocco, Spain, Portugal, Switzerland. So it's a mixed bag of teams we'll go, oh, obviously we'll get through. But there's 2 or 3 in certain groups we've gone, not what we expected, and you and Gav did like a preview show talking around the World Cup, and there have been a few surprises. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start do you want to go alphabetical A to the end, or should we just talk about each semi-final and talk about the groups that knockout round, and we'll talk about each of the groups they're in?
Well, I suppose you go back to the start, really, and you look at, you got to look at who you're expecting to do well and who has ultimately disappointed. And for me, there's a few countries that have absolutely disappointed. I'm just looking now on the telly. Uruguay is definitely one.
Yeah, we'll
I
come to that.
expected a lot better from Uruguay. Expected a lot more. They have quality in that squad, and they were just not at the races for the first two games. Australia, wow. You know
Wow, very impressive.
what that's going to do for Australia and for the AFL in general, but for football in Australia, which is a minority sport, it's
Yeah,
absolutely
because
huge.
cricket is the sport in Australia, isn't it? Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Aussie
cricket,
rules.
Aussie
Aussie rules.
rules, rugby league, football is way down the totem pole,
Correct.
of relevance.
Let's see, it's the
Exactly.
Germans. The
The
Germans.
Germans, yeah. Second World Cup on the bounce that they've gone out in the group phase. I fancied them strongly to get through to maybe even a semi-final, purely and simply based on the fact that through the spine of that side, goals aside, I always felt there was goals in that squad, but I
Just
felt
not
the
enough.
midfield was solid. I felt the centre backs were solid. Keepers top tier. You know what I mean? I felt that they'd be able to win games just with that alone, but no.
The Japan result crippled them really.
Oh, it did.
Because I think they were. If you're honest with Germany, you're probably thinking Spain will take a draw. If we get a draw, the other two games are the ones we expect to win, and it just never really worked out. We'll start from Group A then. So Group A was Netherlands, Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar. Qatar were atrocious.
Yeah.
But they've never been in a World Cup before. It's so I don't think we've
Look,
really.
they're the worst. They're the worst performing host nation in World Cup history, and it's kind of like what we expected.
It is. Now Ecuador actually, Holland we expected to go through. We expected to win the group. Yeah. Holland have kind of done what you expect them. Gakpo's top with 3 goals. So all in all, Holland have been, I think, pretty solid.
I think the Dutch have got out. I've won that group in third gear. You know, you hope that there's more to come from them. There needs to be. They need to improve if they're to get further in this, and it'll start tomorrow. You know, if they have ambitions of getting past the USA tomorrow, then they're going to have to really kick on.
And then Senegal, literally was Senegal. Ecuador was winner take all.
Yeah,
in that last game, and it was a mad 2 minutes, wasn't it? Because Ecuador equalised, and literally Senegal went down the other end of the pitch, and Koulibaly with the corner, great finish. That was it.
Yeah, first goal for Senegal, huh?
Yeah, not a bad time to get your first goal. And you think the concern around Senegal was how would you cope without Sadio Mane, but Ismail Assar stepped up for them as well.
Yeah,
give him his credit, and Ecuador were always even around it. So I think some of the chats Ben says that Ecuador a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, I was as well.
It's a flip of coin between them two. I always thought. I thought Senegal would make it difficult.
Yeah, I think Senegal having come in on the back of winning the AFCON, they should have the better of that group really with the two. But I think this World Cup comes a bit too early for a lot of that Ecuador squad. They're definitely going to be ones to watch in 4 years' time. There's a lot of good young talent that I think are going to be on shopping lists for European clubs in that Ecuador side. None more so than Estupiñán at Brighton. I think he was probably their standout player. Really enjoyed watching him.
Yeah. So then we move on to Group B.
Cheers, Phil. Thanks for that, mate. Yeah, I did an interview the other morning on 96 FM about my daughter. Yeah. So, I enjoyed doing that.
So next one we moved on to was Group B, which is England, USA, Iran, and Wales. I thought England fairly comfortable. The only game that was a disappointment I thought for England was the England USA game was pretty drab. It was just a drab game all round. I thought USA played the better of two sides, but there wasn't masses claimed it. England gave themselves such a cushion with I think they caught Iran cold.
Yeah,
because Iran showed in the Wales game and the USA game that they're a difficult side to face, and they're a side that doesn't concede many. I think England just, caught them on the right time. Wales, I'll be honest, they they just looked. It looked a game too far for a lot of those players. Ramsey and Bale just shadows of themselves. But look, they're coming to the end of their careers.
Yeah,
and they've got too many players who are probably playing lower end Premier League, top end Championship, and I just think the quality. I mean, the killer for Wales was they would have been praying to get something off the Iran game and at least make the England game a realistic option of, maybe a draw is enough for them. But when you go in like you need a 4-0 win, they kind of gave themselves a mountain to climb. But
yeah,
it is the first World Cup since the 50s.
Yeah, 1958. And in fairness, they looked like a side who were just happy to be there. That's never a good place. Yeah, that's never a good place to be for a side in a World Cup. Just happy to be there. It's not good. A few players will probably come on for it, and they've got a core there, but it's going to be a tough rebuild. There's some better sides there than in Europe at the minute than what Wales are producing. So they're going to have a tough run now for the next few qualifications. Iraq, I mean, and saying there, how did England manage to pull such a weak group? Statistically, this group was had the highest ranking sides in it in a 4. There was no one outside FIFA's top 20. The truth is, Iran qualified really well. Wales did well in qualifying for the last few tournaments. And coming through the way they did in the playoffs, you'd have expected a lot more of them. The US are, as they've shown, they've got a really energetic midfield. In Christian Pulisic, they've got a forward capable of scoring goals. I think they can be got at the back, but they've proved to be effective. But it was as expected, really. It was a group. England and Senegal were the sides you'd expect to come out of that group if everyone played the form, and that's the way it turned out.
Exactly. So let's move on to Group C. We had Argentina, Poland, Mexico, Saudi Arabia. Argentina. Now, I'll be honest. Saudi Arabia. I don't think many gave them much of a hope. And look, they do finish bottom of the group, but they started the tournament off with a hell of a start, getting a 2-1 win over Argentina. Now, you and me both think the core Argentina seemed to go at 2-1. But Argentina had so many chances in that first game to get it done. And it just gave them the sucker punch of what's going on. And then we went to, let's talk about Group C. Group C, the game 3 was madness, wasn't it? Absolutely.
I think
Poland 2-0 down, you say to them, don't concede another goal, but also don't give a yellow away. And then Mexico conceded an equaliser to Saudi Arabia in the 93rd minute of added time. Just like it was just a ridiculous game in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just the way. I mean, look, Argentina did enough to qualify, but they've got a long way to go to figure out a way of getting the best out of their top players. Enzo Fernandez has been a find for them. Anyone who's watched Benfica this year knows, and then we all know that he's been strongly linked. He's been linked with Liverpool, and that's down to Melissa Reddy. She was saying that he was on a list for the club's ones to watch type of thing. So, he's been really good. DePaul has been poor. I don't get why they're playing Angel Di Maria. I just don't see it. He's been bang average. Your man at Man City, what's his name? Alvarez. He didn't start the tournament, but he looks good. He looked good when he's played. But yeah, it's they've qualified well.
Lautaro Martinez, which is the main man they were thinking for the goals as a number 9 or the Messi, and he hasn't got going at all. He hasn't got going at all, has he?
No, he hasn't. It's
and your man from Man City. To be honest, he deserves a place because at least when he's played, he looks more of a threat.
He looks apart, doesn't
he? Yeah, he looks like a starting centre forward. Lautaro Martinez, look, form hits all of us, but no, not for me at the moment. So
no, definitely not.
So we'll move on to Group D. France, Australia, Tunisia, Denmark. Now, let's be honest. We all would have said, well, France, Denmark. Done deal.
And I had it the other way around. I had it Denmark, France.
Yeah, piss easy group. There's nothing to worry about there.
Yeah.
France, got the job done in the first two games. Made to work by Australia in the first game, but Australia, mate, for them to qualify, that's a big
It's
win. And
huge.
look, Denmark have been disappointing, and I think you and me talked at the beginning of the tournament. We felt that Denmark lacked goals, but I still thought they'd get out this group. I just didn't think they get much beyond the group. But that's a really disappointing one for Denmark because they're normally a lot better than that.
They are, and the fact that they already have 2 wins against France this year, it just goes to show that form in this tournament matters as much as anything else. Too many players just not at it, and you see Christian Eriksen playing for Manchester United. He's been playing really well.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He just couldn't get a touch of the ball in this. Højbjerg for Spurs has been good. Can't get a touch in this. It just, whatever it was with the Danes, it just didn't work. And not only the fact that they didn't go through, but the way they played in the 3 games they'll be so disappointed with that. They really will. France, as expected, coasted through, but were given a start reminder that they're not going to walk to this World Cup or stroll to this World Cup in their last game. And, again, it's another one of these groups where you expected a country to go through with 9 points, and you did with France. Upstep Tunisia with a 1-0 win against a much changed French side, to be fair. But
it's still a
strong side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you could tell that it wasn't just a flash in the pan, because the player with the most tackles in the game was Ibu Konate, and that in itself tells its own story about that game.
It does. Shows he's overworked.
Yeah. And for someone who didn't get a spot in the second game, I think he's definitely going to be banging on Deschamps' door to start the next round.
Definitely. So, right, groups E and F, these are the fun ones. These are the ones where So we've got Costa Rica, Spain, Germany, Japan. So this group starts with Costa Rica getting slapped 7-0 by Spain. You went, fucking hell. There we go. That's a warning sign. Germany batter Japan for most of that game, and Japan win 2-1. So right, cat amongst the pinches now. Spain and Germany to draw. You think no great surprise there, and then you think, well, this is Japan's opportunity now. Beat Costa Rica, and you qualified. And Costa Rica's nick it 1-0. You, me, doing the watch and thinking, well, Spain and Germany will get through. They'll do what needs to be done. And Japan go and beat Spain. And at one point, Costa Rica were beating Germany. We're going, shit, the 2 big teams are out. And then the Germans eventually overturned Costa Rica, which put Spain through. But Spain finished second. Now, I think in the long term, in terms of the pathway for Spain, it probably is, on paper, nicer for them.
Yeah.
But ego-wise, Spain would have been thinking, we should have topped this group, and we should have topped this group quite comfortably. But all credit to Japan, and big credit to the Japanese manager. His halftime changes were key in that game.
They were, Mitoma coming in. I mean, it's not the first time he's done that. He's done it through a lot of the games where it seems to be, look, stay in the game until halftime. He makes changes at halftime, more attacking changes, and goes for it a lot more. And it worked out for him. And there was controversy with the, was it over the line? Wasn't it over the line? I mean, the evidence is there now for everyone to see. It wasn't over the line. But it goes back to the conversations that fans deserve to have with. We need to hear that conversation, how VAR arrived at a certain decision.
But also,
has to happen.
Why did it wait so long to show that image? I mean, part of the things it's deliberately left like because controversy creates cash and creates clicks, and that's the reason they do it. But that's not the reason it's there for. It's there to show it straight away, because it would have stopped a lot of the silliness. And you'd have gone
exactly.
100%. Look, you watched it live, and I said that looks miles out.
Yeah, I did. It just looked out like it just looked all kinds of wrong. But then when you see the image,
I mean, we
When
had.
you see the plain view of the image straight down, it does make sense.
But remember the COVID season when Liverpool beat Sheffield United, and it was Curtis Jones's goal for all manner. And we remember all the Twitter stills. Look at it; it's half a yard over the line, and then someone showed the overview shot, and you went, "No, it's on the line. It's clear." It just shows how much different perspective of an angle can make on it. So, but listen, Japan deserved that win. It wasn't like a smash and grab. The German win they got, I think, was a smash and grab. Spain win, they were fully deserved it.
Yeah.
And Spain, listen, they made changes, but they still went with their starting midfield that they always start with. And
Busquets, Gavi, and Pedri, and they bossed that first half. They were really
good.
They did. So much so that we were watching it going, wow, it's going to take some side to stop these. And then all of a sudden they were caught with one, and it just goes to show at the back they panicked. They were flustered, and then when you're asking them to force the game, when you're asking this Spanish side to force the game, they didn't have Morata on the pitch, so they don't have a target man to play off. And it's like, it's massive. It made a massive difference to how they were able to attack that game. But look, as the tournament evolves and we get into the knockout stages where extra time and penalties become a thing, then this World Cup is still wide open. It really is. There's no standout side anywhere. Anything could happen in this.
Definitely. So let's move on to another group that was interesting. Group F: Belgium, Croatia, Canada in only their second World Cup, and Morocco. On paper, everyone said Belgium would top the group, probably Croatia. Canada finished bottom. Canada finished bottom. Morocco top the group, and Belgium out. And I'll be honest, Belgium looked garbage all World Cup.
It is. Nothing more so when you saw the misses that Lukaku missed in that game when they had to get a result.
Based on their XG, they should have won that. They should have put 4 or 5 in that game.
Yeah,
they had the chances. They didn't take them, but
they just didn't take them. And the thing is, you look at this Belgium side, and all the wheels, Vertonghen and all, they're just way past it. But then you look at the fact that Belgium don't have a real powerhouse of a league. It's a small league. Most of their players are all playing abroad. Small population relative to how many play football. And they call it a golden generation. Yeah, they do, because at club level, these players are top tier players. But they've probably achieved what they should have achieved. They got to semi-finals. They qualified for every tournament. They got to knockout stages, and they got deep into tournaments. They just were never as good as a France or a Brazil or a Germany at the time, or a Spain. They just weren't. And even on paper, on their best day, they weren't. I'll be honest, it a failure? No, I think they did what they should have done. But that was it.
If we put our Liverpool hats on, surely you'd just look Divock Origi, because that's all he does, is just bring him on when you need a goal in the last 10 minutes. That's his.
That is his mantra, isn't it?
That's what he's there for. He does piss all the rest of the time.
I mean,
but you need a big goal in the last 10 minutes. He's got loads of them, and that's his thing.
Roberto Martinez a shocker of a tournament, to be honest, right? Your man who's playing currently at Leicester, and centre back playing. No, not Castagna. There's a centre back playing at Leicester. The guy with the hair.
Oh, he looked. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, he looks kind of like Alexi Lalas without the beard.
Yeah,
but he's a good centre back, and he's at a right age. He should have been playing. And it's like, it's little things like that. The fact he didn't take Origi, the fact that he didn't take Benteke. He took Lukaku, who looked like he's about 3 stone overweight.
Well, he's also only just coming off an injury, so they needed another option, because
Faze, that's his name. Wout Faze.
Okay,
but it's like, you look at it. Yeah, you look at it and you think they should have got out of this group. 100% they should have. You got the likes of De Bruyne as well, and it's like, you look at him for a club football when he's got better players around him, he plays better. But Belgium just looked disjointed, and they just didn't look anywhere near like their normal selves. There was definitely infighting amongst that group as well, because they chopped and changed it so much. I mean, Martinez is done now. He had too much control in Belgium. He was the technical director of the FA and the national manager. He just had way too much control, way too much authority over what was going on there, and that was a huge mistake. But again, they're another country that does have a decent younger set of players that they'll be all right for the next tournament, maybe too. But I wonder how Lukaku is going to recover mentally from those, because no one needs to tell him.
No.
You know, he's not stupid. He knows. He knows. No one knows more than what he knows. So at club level, it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from that.
Yeah, because players go two ways. On the Diva, it spurs them on. It's almost like a bit of an I'll show you from a disappointment. And some players, it can take them a while to recover from really big disappointment. Unfortunately, some players, you know, we can talk about it. Karius, some players just don't recover from big moments.
Let's not mince words here a minute. Darwin Núñez has been shocking this World Cup. He did all right. Yeah, we're going to come to them. Yeah, we'll come to Uruguay in a minute. But he's another one who needs to come back to club level, and he needs to show what got him to the club in the first place, because that's not a reflection of what. Because
actually, he was in really good. He was in really good form going into the World Cup.
Exactly.
So he kind of thought this will be perfect. Kind of momentum. I think the setup didn't help me. In the first game, he was basically. In fact, we'll come back to this group. Let's just do the Uruguay while we're on Darwin Núñez. So Group H.
Yeah.
Uruguay finished third. Ghana finished bottom. South Korea and Portugal go through. But back to Darwin Núñez. The first game, we know he can play on the left for Liverpool, but he starts left and he cuts in because he has someone to overtake him. He literally was stuck out the whole first game on the left wing. He going, doesn't really help. But also, look, his touch wasn't great in the second game. His interplay wasn't good. He's getting involved in silly histrionics that you don't need him to. He was better in the last game, but it was a little bit too little too late. And to be honest, you could have said that about a lot of that Uruguay team. It was either too little too late, or for some of them, their tournament was 4 years ago. This is nowhere near their tournament. So
the thing is, you watch him today, and he was better today. But today he was playing through the middle, and it looked like Luis Suarez was playing off the left, but drifting inside. He was closer to Darwin, and Darwin was through the middle a lot more, especially in the first half. And he looked better. He looked more threatening, and he was quick, and he was getting the balls, and he was like the chip that went over the keeper that was cleared off the line. You know, little things like that. It bodes well. We can see there that we can definitely see that there's a player, but no doubt about it, over the 3 games, he's definitely going to be disappointed. And he'll need picking up as well.
Yeah, I mean, thought similar to us. Down was disappointed, but no doubt the Conservative setup didn't help. I don't think it did.
No.
Help him.
It didn't help with Valverde either. You know, I mean...
No, because I think it was Rory Smith of the Boston... Oh, where is he now? No, New York Times. It said, it takes some talent to make one of the best midfielders in the world, Valverde, and the agent of chaos, Núñez, look boring. Yeah. And they did. They were dull. Uruguay was really dull. Yeah. And you're sort of going, kind of not what you expect with the talent they've got. Ghana finished bottom. I think their big opportunity was the South Korea game, where they got themselves back into, it was 2-2 and then losing that. I think that's what killed it for them in the end. And there was always on an uphill battle then. Portugal, for me, just did what they had to do. Did enough. Kind of got the job done the first 2 games. And look, we've watched the highlights of the Portugal-South Korea game. 2 really good goals. The Portugal's really good move, nice finish. South Korea's equaliser, Christ almighty, the lad who scores, if he misses it, there's 3 lads behind us to tap it in. It's absolutely awful defending.
Yeah.
But the Son pass for their winner, brilliant. That's what he does for Tottenham. Yeah. It's a nice one. You think he's going to go all the way, and he has that ice coolness to play it through Darlow's legs. And it's a lovely finish. It's really good goal.
91st minute as well. 91st minute as well. And to take that the length of the pitch, that is some going from Son. And Wang Hee-chan, that's the Wang Hee-chan Wolves hoped that they were getting. Breaking the line, beating the last defender and just slotting it past the keeper. And hopefully for his sake, I hope that he turns up in that kind of form for Wolves, because that's the first game where he's looked sharp in a long time. And in that kind of form, with that link up that they have, they'll give anyone a game. They will give anyone problems.
Yeah. So go back to Group F because we need to mention Morocco.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Literally, the only disappointment for Morocco was they drew with Croatia. It was a pretty dour game, to be honest. But beat Canada fairly comfortably, which you kind of expect. I'll be honest, they beat Belgium, I thought, in second gear. I didn't think actually Belgium bothered Morocco too much. And again, I think so. It's the first time two African nations have actually made it to the knockout stage. So again, it's another big positive for
Morocco topped the group.
Mm-hmm.
Morocco topped the group, and when you actually look at the squad,
some
you
really
look
good
at the
players
depth
in that squad
that they have. There are some really good, promising, serious players. Not just promising players, but you got Hakimi on one side, and his name is Masrati on the other side. They're both right backs, but they both attack like lunatics. El Nui, he's a striker, plays in Spain. Ziyech we know about. They've got some good players. And the fact that they topped the group, pleasant surprise, as Ben says there. They were, but the way they played the game was the best of the lot for me. They were in every game. Every game was well worth going out of your way to watch. They can be got at. They can concede, but they can score as well. So when it comes to the knockout stages, they're not going to be a gimme for anyone.
Definitely.
And, you look through some of the knockout games and you say, yeah, okay, that's it's the draw can open up for, and it's more so the right hand side of the draw, the Brazil side of the draw.
We'll come to that because
that can open up.
Like, everything, Kev. Don't spoil it.
The left side of the draw is tight. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, but it is open for sure. It's open.
Yeah. So let's talk about the final group because what we watched tonight.
Well, one sec there. Ocean makes a point there. Aguerd and Saiz, a good solid partnership. Saiz we know about. Aguerd is at West Ham, and they paid, I think, 30 million for him, but they bought him injured, or he got injured very early on.
Yeah.
And he's back playing now. So, if West Ham are paying 30 million for a player, they're generally not going to be duds. They're going to have done something.
No, and West Ham have also gone down that statistical route, hasn't they, with their recruitment, and it's working. Look, it's working dividends for them because look at how well they've developed over the last 2-3 years. Back-to-back European qualification, that sort of stuff. So you can see that. So Group G, which is the one we watched tonight, arguably probably watched the best game of the group stage. Switzerland 3, Serbia 2, and Cameroon spoiled the party for Brazil. So Brazil only finished on 2 wins and 1 loss. If you've not seen the goal, it's a brilliant goal from Cameroon, and then the fella gets himself sent off for taking his shirt off, shakes the referee's hand and smiles and walks away. But fair play. But look, Switzerland were really good. I thought Brazil did what they had to do. I mean, they've arguably probably had goal of the tournament, Brazil, haven't they, Kev, with Richarlison's overhead kick in the first game.
Yeah, that was a screamer.
Absolute brilliant. But look, Brazil got loads of pace. What's that? The concern for Brazil is how bad's the Neymar ankle injury, because he did his ankle in the first game and not seen anything of him since. Hansen Lawrence says Serbia were poor over 3 games, 1 good half. I think that's pretty fair. I think the first half against Brazil, they were competitive. Didn't really do much after that, to be honest. They were really, really disappointed, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Serbia. I was disappointed with Serbia. Expected a lot more from them. But today was the only time they were able to get their main 2 forwards out on the pitch. That was their problem. Vlahovic and Mitrovic on the pitch at the same time are a right handful. And in that first half, they really were. It was a proper game of football. Went in 2-2 at halftime. Switzerland won it 3-2 in the end. Switzerland are a headache for anyone. A side full of very good players without having a superstar in any position. But players like Granit Xhaka, Akanji, Shaqiri at international level, Okafor to come off the bench. They've got speed and pace and all that kind of stuff. They're a handful for anyone, but Brazil, I think, are probably more balanced with Neymar not in the side because of the way they set up.
Yeah.
But they're massively attacking threat with him in the side. Without him in the side, Paqueta becomes the more natural attacking central midfielder with Fred and Casemiro holding. But if Neymar is fit, he'll play with Paqueta. He played with Paqueta and Neymar as 2/8. And for me, the balance is out the window there against good sides.
Breaking
better
news.
Sides.
Breaking news. Apparently, Bielsa is to become the new Uruguay
Yeah,
coach.
Yeah, that's what I was just checking there. It's been reported, but it hasn't been. Nothing's been made official. But the Uruguay manager did say that come hell or high water, he was returning to his day job at Borussia Dortmund. I think he's at Dortmund as either a scout or a coach or whatever. But he was always leaving the job, so the job was coming available.
Mm-hmm.
If Bielsa takes that on, it'll be interesting to see how Bielsa copes with
not doing the
day-to-day. With getting a group of players together for a few days, play a couple of games, and then they all go away again.
And it's a rebuild job. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not like he's walking into it's going to be a heavily established side. That, there's a lot of rebuild work done there. So let's have a quick look, because Kev, you sent me this on social media. Here we go. Let's see if this works. No, it's not working. That's the button. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, that's the way the draw looks for the last 16 at the minute, and we're going to get 2 games a day for the next 4 days to decide that lot.
Which isn't bad. So this bit here, so we've got Holland, USA, Argentina, Australia. So that's the first set of fixtures. So let's talk about them, right? Let's get rid of that. Back to you, me. I'll get used to StreamYard stuff now. There we go. It only took me 3 years. Right, so let's talk about Holland versus Netherlands versus USA. How are you seeing that?
If the Dutch don't turn up, the US could turn them over. And look, a lot of it's going to come down to bottle and nerve when it comes to America, because they've got so many young players. If they hold their nerve, they've got enough pace in that midfield to trouble the Dutch. And they've got enough up front to be able to give them something to think about, to create chances. Christian Pulisic is a must. If Pulisic
apparently he's been declared fit for it, which is a big.
As long as he plays, we've seen Pulisic against us, and he's not afraid of anyone, and he'll be a right live wire. And the Dutch do need to improve, man. They really do need to improve.
I do question if there's enough goals in them, because they've got lots of wide forwards, but out and out killers through the middle. I'm just not sure. Do it to get you some goals. So can Gakpo go look, he's 3 out of 3, but that's where I think the Dutch have got a question mark over them. But I would probably edge it the Dutch, because I think their defense is slightly better than America's. But I think it'll be a good game
for sure.
Good game though. Actually, look forward to that.
The Dutch are better at the back, but the problem is, look, I hate this. I hate seeing Virgil playing in the back 3. I think it's an absolute waste.
I think he said Jogee is playing a back 3.
Yeah, I think Malacia should be playing as a left wing back if you're playing a back 3, because him and Dumfries on the other side, at least they're going to attack. If you're going to do that, they're going to attack, and you've got pace out wide with. At least then up front, you've got the likes of Gakpo, you've got Depay, Klaassen as well coming on to things. It's something you can work with, but the way he's playing, Van Haal's playing with Daley Blind as a left wing back, he ain't going to go past anyone. He'd hardly go past his shadow, for God's sake. He's that slow. So it slows the Dutch down. And the thing is, they won't be allowed to boss the midfield against this USA side.
So just look at on the injury front then. So USA have confirmed that Pulisic will be fit. However, it's touch and go for Josh Sargent, who's picked up a groin knock.
Yeah, but I don't think he would have started anyway.
Possibly not, but he was a handy one off the bench for them. There's no real news. I think the Dutch are okay. I don't think there's any sort of news for them in terms of injuries. And then the evening game is Argentina against Australia, which for Australia, look, this is what, I think they were happy to get to the World Cup, but to get to the knockout stage, and then you get the prestige of a game against Argentina.
Yeah. The one thing that you can guarantee with Australia is effort. And they'll be compact, hard to break down, and they'll try to counter with numbers and pace. But you expect Argentina to dominate the ball, and it depends on the lineup he goes with. If he goes with Alvarez, I
hope
think
he does.
I would as well. Look, I think he'll get chances.
Ben Abbott's gone 1-0 Australia. The way his World Cup's gone, you wouldn't.
This is it. See, I wouldn't rule anything out. This is the way this World Cup, anything could happen, and that's the truth. This World Cup has made fools out of a lot of people, me included.
Both of us, especially.
Yeah.
So let's go to Sunday. So Sunday, we are on the top right side. So we've got early kickoff, France versus Poland, and then we've got England versus Senegal. So let's do the France game first. I can't say anything for the French win, can you? Because Poland are turgid.
The thing is with the Poles, with Lewandowski, you've got a chance, but I don't think he gets the right kind of service. He's a brilliant striker, Robert Lewandowski, but he's always been a striker who needs service. He doesn't create much for himself, but you give him the right service and he will get goals. It's just this Polish side, it's not as good as previous versions, let's put it that way. Matty Cash has had a good World Cup for them, to be fair.
Yeah.
And Zielinski is a good player, but
to be fair, the goalkeeper for Poland has had a very good World Cup.
Yeah, I'm really reaching. I just can't see anything but a French.
The debate
win.
for France is, I think he's going to go with Varane and Upamecano because I think he's just going to go with his trust favourite. Yeah, I would personally go Canales because I think he's played the better out of the three of them. But
yeah,
it's whatever he wants to go with. Do you think with this one they'll still stick with that really attacking front three with Griezmann just behind and just two holders?
Yeah, I think they will because they'll back themselves to dominate the ball, and with those four, they'll stay on the pitch for an hour, 70 minutes even. And if you're getting those four on the pitch for 70 minutes, they're going to get chances. I mean, you're going to have Mbappe up against Matt Cash. That's going to be a serious test of this kid. We'll see what he's really made of in this game. But more across, I think Olivier Giroud is really probably the most important player for the French. If he can hold it up, if he can occupy the centre backs, Griezmann, Rabiot coming from midfield, Ousmane Dembele on the other side. They've just got too much. They've just got way too much. I expect France to run out maybe 3-4-0.
Okay, and then evening kickoff is England against Senegal. Senegal are going to be out with Gay. He's suspended.
Idris Gana Gay is suspended, yeah.
And I think for England, the only person missing is out the squad is Ben White, who's gone home for personal reasons.
Yeah.
So I think England-wise, I would assume they'll probably I saw some talk of resting Kyle Walker ready for the.
They'll manage his minutes. They have to manage his minutes.
I would assume you do Trippier right back, Shaw left back, Stones and Maguire.
Yeah.
And listen, look, we all take the piss off Harry Maguire. Me more than most, but to be fair to him, he's had a good tournament. To be fair to him,
yeah, he's been on it.
Pickford, midfield. I think will be Rice, Bellingham. I think Henson keeps his place ahead of Mount.
I hope so.
And then I
think so because there's more balance in that midfield.
I think he puts Kane through the middle, and then it's the two wide lads then because Rashford and Foden both did fine against Wales. But Sterling and Saka have done fine in the first two games. So that's probably the interesting ones. Which ones does he keep in?
For me, Rashford has to start. I mean, he's joint top scorer in the tournament. He looks lively. He looks sharp.
I think he might.
For me, it's the other side. I don't think he goes with Raheem Sterling. It's a case of does he go with Saka? Saka played in the first game and you haven't really seen him since. And it's a case of do you go for Saka or do you go for Foden? And I think if you're going for someone to play on the right, I don't think you go with Phil Foden. I'd rather see Phil Foden playing off the left, and then you're putting Rashford out on the other side. But
Sterling starting wouldn't surprise me because he's a naturally conservative manager, and I think he'll go with what he knows and what he trusts.
I mean, every which way you look at it, I don't see England. I mean, it would be a shock for me if England messes
again,
up.
Probably like we said for quite a few other games, is you've got to have your head on it straight away. If you get caught, slow start, we've seen plenty of times in this tournament at the moment that's going to catch you out.
Yeah, so I just look at. I mean,
if you mentioned Grealish when he came on's done well, but
he's done okay. I still, for the life of me, don't understand why they play Jack Grealish on the wing. I don't. I would have, from day one at Man City, I would have played him as one of the eights. They dominate the ball. Get him in the middle of the park and just let him run at people. Play 1-2s, draw fouls, get players booked, get players sent off. Get him involved in the middle of the park and on the ball and in the game. But that's just me. But for England, I don't see how they don't beat Senegal. Senegal have got pace in Ismail Assar. Jeju is a good, solid centre forward. They've got a couple of good players, but in general, they'll be confident because of winning the AFCON and the fact that they've qualified well and they've been good form the last 12 months. But if you're England and this is who you draw in the second round, you have to be confident going into this. You just have to be.
But we will see. Then Monday night, we go to this side of the draw here. So it goes to the bottom left. So we've got early kickoff of Japan versus Croatia. And then we've got the late kickoff of Brazil versus South Korea. I fancy Japan against Croatia.
I'd like to see Japan beat Croatia because I think Croatia have just been so dour in how they've played. They've just gone through the motions and done what they needed to do to get through the group, which is all well and good. It's fine. But, I mean, look, we all know that they've got quality in the middle of the park. But
it's aging quality, though, isn't it?
Modric was on his knees at the end of that last game. He's feeling it. And to be fair, I like watching Japan. I like watching Japan. I love Matoma. I think I really enjoy watching him.
You never mentioned that on the stream once that you liked him.
I love him, man. I just think there's so much to like about how he plays and how he just doesn't care.
You talked about Matoma about as much as I talked about Alisson's Tash.
Yeah, he's just one of these wingers that he gets the ball to his feet and he just wants to run at you. And for me, I love players like that. It's proper bravery. And I'd love to see them rewarded with a quarterfinal place. And it wouldn't surprise. I think they could get it. I think they could. I think it'll be. I don't think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close game. But it's going to be. This could be one of those ones that if it went to extra time and penalties, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
No. So let's look at the late game. That's going to be Brazil versus South Korea. You sort of feel Brazil should have too much for South Korea, but South Korea are always on the side. They have pace. They've got awkward, and they always find a way of making these sort of games closer than you would expect them to be. I still think Brazil get through, but maybe not the cakewalk that some people think it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be close for an hour. But I think Brazil,
bit like Australia, France.
I think Brazil just have way too much up front, and it's more so the options off the bench. When you look at the fact that Rafinha is playing really well, Anthony can come off the bench and affect games.
Martinelli was excellent tonight.
Yeah, Martinelli is really, really good. I think Brazil probably do run out maybe 2-3-1, something like that. I think Korea score. And it might be close at halftime, but I think they'll run out in the second half. Kim Min-jae is a really good centre back. He's an animal of a defender. We've seen that when he's been playing for Napoli. But Korea need an awful lot to go right.
They do.
They need an awful lot to go right. They need Heung-min Son to have the game of his life. he's well capable, you know.
Very much so.
So,
and then Tuesday night, last of the round of 16, we have got early kickoff: Morocco against Spain and Portugal, Switzerland. So let's talk Morocco, Spain.
That could be a belter.
Mm,
That could be an absolute belter, because I think Morocco are the type of side who could give Spain problems. They've just got really good footballers. They've got pace, and they can counter really well. They defend in a good unit, and with the wing backs, with the full backs that can attack, as well as the security of having a holding midfielder who's really good at it. They've got a really good six. His name escapes me, but I saw him actually linked with Liverpool today. But that's just World Cup talk. But
I know the lad you mean as well.
He's just a really good, solid, dependable six, and I think they'll match up really well against Spain. You wonder what Spain have in the locker if they struggle to start breaking sides down.
Yeah.
You know, the longer games go on at 0-0. We saw at the end they were looking for 1-2s in and around the box. Amrabat, that's him. But they were looking for 1-2s in and around the box, and when it didn't come off, they didn't have the option of being able to put the ball out wide and put crosses in, because they had no one in the box that could put them away. So as long as you're tight, narrow, and you can defend properly, you can give Spain problems. But if they're on it, they're a great side to watch. You know, they can be really entertaining to watch. But
final game of the last 16, you're looking at Portugal against Switzerland. On paper, you and me both said Portugal should go through, but we see with the Switzerland side, they don't make it anything easy for it. And Switzerland are always side that are really difficult.
Actually, Oshin just made a really good. Just jump back to the other game a sec there. Oshin made a really good point. Unai Simon doesn't fill me with confidence that poor against Japan for the first goal, dodgy when he's playing out from the back, and is waiting to be punished. If you can press him, I've never seen a keeper think he's good at football who really isn't like him.
That's just for him and David De Gea. David De Gea knows he's not good with his feet. So if you do try and play back to it, he will just pump it, because he's like, he knows pump it, I know people kick off on him. He's like, well, it's not my strength, so I'm not going to do it. Nick Pope's the same. Nick Pope is not very good with the ball at his feet, so he doesn't do it. You know, it's one of these keepers who
Luis Enrique is literally, you will play the ball out from the back. And they have to, because they can't go long. Yeah. You know, they're peeing against the wind trying to go along with the forwards that they have. So they know they have to play out from the back. So it's like, and Unai Simon, he just wants too much time on the ball. If you press him, you will get joy. You know, so yeah, that game is going to be probably one of the most fascinating games of all of the second round fixtures, to be honest. But the last game, you were saying Portugal against
Switzerland.
Yeah, Switzerland will be organized and structured, and it wouldn't surprise me if they knock Portugal out.
I agree with those. It wouldn't surprise me if it went to penalties this though either.
Yeah, the thing is, Ronaldo. I was really surprised Ronaldo played today.
Yeah, you thought they might have rested him today, because they didn't need the win.
No.
So, but we said the same with Spain game was a bit like that as well. Probably went a bit stronger than you expected.
Yeah, but the thing we saw with the Spain one, that they weren't as safe as what they thought they were in the group. The difference is Portugal had 6 points already. They didn't need to do anything. So
yeah,
I thought that was weird. But Portugal have, in the likes of what's his name at Atletico Madrid. Oh, what's his name? The young kid, big money.
Oh, João Felix.
João Felix. He's looking for a move. Atletico are looking to sell. Apparently, according to the BBC, they're willing to accept 86 million for him.
Oh, how they? Good luck with that.
Oh, they'll get offers. He's 23 years of age. Whether it be Manchester United, whether it be PSG, or maybe Bayern, someone will come fishing at that kind of price, and he's going to want to play well in this game. Bruno Fernandes has actually been quite good this tournament. But again, his better football has come when Ronaldo's not on the pitch.
That's been the problem.
Yeah, but
That has been the problem.
It's fascinating how this second round of games really pan out, because you can the bottom half of the draw could really open up for Brazil in a really comfortable way, depending on results elsewhere.
Well, if you're doing predictions for quarterfinals, odds are you're probably saying Netherlands versus Argentina, which will be a cracker of a game.
Yeah.
Japan Brazil, I would probably say that'd be my money. I'd be on Japan Brazil. England France.
Yeah.
Spain Portugal. There's some exciting quarterfinals.
There is. You could. That's if all the big boys go through. I think if there's going to be a shock, I think the Japan one would be a surprise. Let's be honest, it would. And
I kind of want it because I think Brazil Japan should be a better game as well.
I would, but I honestly wouldn't be a bit surprised if Morocco does turn Spain over. Okay. Just a feeling.
Fair enough.
And you could end up with a situation with Morocco against Switzerland for a place in a semi-final. That's how the bottom half of this group could open up with a pathway for Brazil to get to the final. I think the bottom half of the draw is definitely
if Brazil get through it, they'll face the winners of the Holland, USA, Argentina, Australia section. So you could be looking at, if everything goes to form, Argentina Brazil semi-final, which would be outrageously brilliant. And we also said if things go to form, you could be looking at France Spain, possibly.
Yeah,
as another semi-final, or France Portugal. If they're the semi-finals you're looking at, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, they're mouth-watering. They really are.
Yeah, because my anticipation is I can't see England getting past France. I generally can't. I think you and me talked about this. I think attack-wise, they've both got pace. They both can do really well. I just think the French are better defensively than England, and I think in big crunch games that tends to be what wins you the game.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And I just think the French have just got that bit more quality and depth defensively.
You could have Hansen there. Brazil against Holland could be another one. Oh, you never know. That. It's
repeat of the '98 semi-final.
Yeah. The way I look at this at the minute, I wouldn't put my hat on anyone at the moment. There's 2 or 3 sides in there that I think, France, Brazil, more than likely, are the ones where you say, you've got the deepest squads and you've got the more individual brilliance.
That's the key one, because, these games are going to be played Saturday to Tuesday.
So Saturday to Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, there's no games. Then they're into it again Friday.
Friday, Saturday. So that's not much of a gap. So
no.
I know some people seen it as the arrogance thing with these. England might have to rest Walker. But actually, I think if you decide, which shocks could happen, the likes of Brazil's and Spain's might be looking at certain fixtures. They think they've got enough for the bench going, who can I get away with not playing? Because some of these players, they're thinking they can't do all the games because they're going to pick up. They just haven't got the legs.
They just haven't. Kyle Walker doesn't have. He started one game in months.
Yeah.
So he can't go back to back doing high intensity games.
So which why you probably play Trippier, because that's who you started with, and
that's who we'll go with. Yeah.
To be fair, Trippier's done nothing wrong, so doesn't deserve to not play. To be fair.
No, exactly. So the way it works, and you look at France. They're already down to the bare bones when it comes to fullbacks.
Yeah, because of the ACL injury and the manager.
Brazil the same,
and the manager Varane, aren't they?
Yeah, there's no way in hell that what's his name, Dani Alves can play back-to-back games. So they'll have to play Eder Militao out at fullback.
And depending on how Neymar's ankle is, they're probably thinking, can we get away with not playing Neymar against South Korea and maybe get him ready for a quarter or semi-final?
Exactly. You've got Alexandro at left back as well, who's
if it goes against you, you look stupid then, because you're like, why didn't you play your best players? But this is going to be the interesting one, and this
is why managers are there to earn their money. It's like they have to make these decisions. They know the fitness of the sides that they have.
That's before you talk about suspensions, sending them off, because at some point, suspensions are going to kick in at some point.
I don't know when they get cleared. They usually
if it's like
is it
most
the
things,
semi-final they clear?
I would assume so. Most of these things seem to be semi-finals because what they don't want is a repeat of the last, not internationally, but the last big one I remember was, do you remember when Darren Fletcher got a yellow and he missed the Champions League final, and they all sort of went, it's a bit shit because if he got sent off, you could have appealed it and tried to get him. So
yeah, Jonathan, no, Benzema is not in the France squad. He's out of it completely,
and they've confirmed they won't. He's got no chance of being fit for it, which again, makes not bringing a replacement in a bit stupid.
Yeah, it does.
Just have the option there. If you don't use it, and you never need it, it's fine.
So after the quarterfinals, Owen, is it? Oisin?
Oh, okay. Well, I suppose realistic, after quarterfinals, you've got semi-finals, then you've got finals. So unless you get yourself sent off, you should,
And referees tend to not issue red cards very often,
unless it's something ridiculous.
Unless it's something really bad. Yeah,
ridiculous, or one of those last man handball on the lines. It's one of those like where you go, you have to go, even if there's no choice about this one. A bit like the rest today when he sent the Cameroon player off. He just did the shrug of like, it's coming. I don't want to send you off, but I have to. That's the rules. Because obviously, if he doesn't do it, if the ref doesn't do it, that's him done then.
But look, we've got four games over the next 4 days. They're all going to be good games. Don't know what we're covering, but we'll see what we're doing with the watch-alongs and stuff. But there'll still be shows 10 o'clock every night, covering what's happened and what's going on, latest news, all that kind of stuff. There's not really much going on with Liverpool, over the last day or so. I haven't seen anything much.
It's because our sides are playing the World Cup.
Yeah,
hopefully, that's what it is. It's because they're all playing the World Cup. They can't send.
I don't know when. Have you any idea? Is it Monday that they're back in training?
I thought the friendly was this Sunday.
No, it's the 11th. The game in Dubai is on the 11th of December.
Oh, it's a week today then.
Yeah, so I assume that they're either
week or Sunday. So I would assume they're probably flying out Monday then.
Yeah, they're probably back. They have to be back in training soon. They wouldn't have.
Yeah, because they play Monday 11th and they play Friday the 16th.
Yeah, and then they're back for the
League Cup's
21st.
The League Cup's on 22nd, isn't it? So
22nd, yes.
Yeah, so they play on the 16th, and then they've got 6 days for the first game back. So
yeah, the thing is, if I'm home with the friendlies, if I'm home, I'll watch them.
I'll be at work, so I'll just have to catch the highlights later. Unfortunately,
yeah, that's it. It's just time of year at the minute, It's.
I'm going to watch how stressed people get over a friendly.
Oh God, yeah, I can't be dealing with that. I really cannot be dealing with that. But I'm looking forward to when we get back into some kind of normality with the league football and domestic football, because
it wouldn't surprise in these friendlies if the first half team is the team that he's looking to play against City.
Yeah, you're right. That's going to have to be the main focus.
I think so, because if you think Queeve will play in goal, you probably do Ramsey and Robbo at fullback.
Yeah,
Matip and Joe Gomez.
Probably Joe. Yeah, Matip and Joe.
Thiago will play.
Yeah.
After that, you're probably looking at Jones and Elliott. That's probably the question mark, because Keita, I don't know if he's fit. I don't know if he's back. Chamberlain, don't know if he's fit.
We'll know everything about what's going on with Naby Keita if he goes on this tour.
True.
If he goes on this warm weather training, then we'll know. Yeah, Steve, you are, to be honest, mate. It's just been a long week, my man. It's been a long week. A lot of
looks it with me.
Busy work and busy after work, yeah.
And then the front three, Kev, we're probably looking at Mo Salah. Talk if Luis Diaz is playing in these games, so Luis Diaz and Bobby Firmino. When you look at that, it doesn't look.
It's going to be nice to have Luis Diaz back, isn't it?
Yeah, that emphasis. I mean, unfortunately, the Jota one we're talking February, aren't we? That is a bit of a killer. But
yeah, but having Diaz back is such a massive option. You know what I mean? It's such a massive option.
And again, we can rotate them because then we can rest
manage
Bobby
them
or
properly.
Nunes. We'll be able to do that proper full rotation. Takes a bit of pressure off young Fabio Carvalho, which means again he could go back to what I think he was best at, which was being an impact sub. I don't think he's ready yet to be a regular starter.
Yeah, but that's all to come at the end of the month.
Yeah, it's been good fun. But listen, thanks everyone for watching. There's 48 of you in the chat today.
Cheers, guys.
Like, share, subscribe, and look, just keep an eye out because whatever next shows we're going to do, we will put it out on our socials and we'll let you know.
Yeah.
But until then, guys, take care of yourselves. Have a nice evening, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Good night.